Ashley Babbitt murdered in cold blood. You can accept a woman's death as a tragedy while acknowledging that it's a tragedy of her own making. Oh, wait, sorry. No, wait, hold on. Unarmed Air Force veteran and Trump supporter Ashley Babbitt is fatally shot by...
Quite frankly, you need to subscribe to Rinnycast.
Speaking of both the Trump administration thinking that you're retarded and just blatantly rewriting history, yesterday, as previously stated, it's 12:23 right now, so technically 2 days ago now, was the 5th anniversary of our favorite day, January 6th, 2021. If you are familiar with me, okay, we're very familiar with everything that happened on this day and the events leading up to this day. That's why it was incredibly frustrating when I read this retelling of it, which is like probably the most blatantly inaccurate thing I've ever seen from a government website. Like not only just like being wrong, but like being... There's this thing, right, where if you read mainstream media stuff, they're never going to lie to you because they're actually on the hook for lies. They're going to lie by omission, right? They're not going to lie to you. They're going to leave information out to paint a narrative, but it's never going to be with incorrect information. It's going to be with cherry-picked information, right? That's the idea. If anybody ever points to mainstream media bias or whatever, that's what they're referring to. This website does not do that. This website does not lie by omission. It lies by typing words on a page that are incorrect. So we're going to read through this entire thing. We're going to take notes. We're not going to take notes. We're going to refer to my notes, okay? And we're going to wonder how fucking retarded our government thinks we are. That's what we're going to wonder throughout this entire time. Because it's funny, before we were going to film this, Hex, you told me that you would be a little bit out of your depth on the J6 stuff. No, you won't. No, you won't. Okay. Your level of knowledge on this is going to be like, I could probably show this to my mom or my dad, and they would be able to bring up like 90% of the objections I'm going to bring up to this.
We're good.
With that being said, President Trump took decisive action to pardon January 6 defendants who are unfairly targeted, overcharged, and used as political examples. They were not protected by the leaders who failed them. They were punished to cover incompetence. On his first day back in office, January 20th, 2025, President Trump issued a blanket sweeping pardon and commutations for nearly 1,600 patriotic Americans prosecuted for their presence at the Capitol, many mere trespassers or peaceful protesters treated as insurrectionists by a weaponized Biden DOJ. He fully pardoned most, commuted sentence, and ordered immediate release of those still in prisons, ending years of harsh solitary confinement, denied due process, and family separation for exercising their First Amendment rights. So,
did I just see family separation? Yeah, they were in jail. That was the family separation. They went to jail.
There's a couple really gross things already, right? The first thing is I promise you 1000% that this verbiage of denied due process would not exist if the Trump administration were not on the hook in multiple cases for actually really denying people of their due process rights, and not just like made up cases that don't cite to anything, right? You will ask, I promise anybody, if you go and talk to any Trump supporter ever, anybody who ever says that the J6ers were denied their due process rights, ask, who? Can you name one case? They won't. They never will. Never, ever. You want to know why?
Didn't happen.
Didn't happen. People, and it goes back to people just not knowing what due process is, right? Because due process isn't that you sat in a jail before you were found guilty. That's not what due process or being denied of your due process means, right?
And what a violation is, yeah.
And all of the fucking grifters, by the way, because that fucking evil person who was like putting the cop in the chokehold and like macing the fuck out of them, he claimed a denial of his due process rights, but he didn't do it in court. right? These people can't claim this in court because they'll know they'll lose. They claim it in their books, right? He claimed it in a book that he was selling on Amazon that nobody bought. I read the summary. It's just bullshit. It's all bullshit, right? And the only reason that he's using these terms is because it's the projection thing, right? He did this.
Every accusation is confession.
But you have to accuse the other side first, right? Yeah, and then this painting of like all of these people were trespassers and peaceful protesters. Didn't you say you pardoned all of them? Do you think we're stupid? Do you think we didn't see the video of people smashing Capitol police officers indoors and beating them with stolen riot shields and macing them? Do you think we didn't see those videos? Do you think we forgot?
Tasered that guy, gave him a heart attack, right?
I understand. I understand that a lot of people on the right have selective amnesia, and as soon as an event is 2 years old, they forget about it, right? But as soon as,
don't be so gracious, buddy. It's a couple weeks.
True. But as soon as it's like in like 2015 to 2016, they remember everything with crystal clear detail, right? You can name the person who fucking filed for the FISA warrant on Kevin Kleinsmith or on fucking Carter Page or whatever. You can name exactly the FBI agent who fucking authorized that. But in terms of asking about the election that followed, the transition of power, you're like, I don't remember. It's like fucking 5 years ago anyway, right? I understand that those people have selective amnesia. I seem to recall videos of people crushing officers with doors, macing people, tasing people, beating people with stolen riot shields, right? And when he says blanket pardons and commutations for nearly 1,600 patriotic Americans prosecuted for their presence at the Capitol, he's talking about everybody. He's not talking about people who trespassed. He's not talking about people who were on restricted grounds and that's it. He's talking about everybody. He pardoned everybody or gave commutations to everybody. If I were to release 100 people, or let's say that I bring 100 people into my house and I say most of these kids are, or most of these people are like just like consenting adults, right? Like I'm here to have an orgy. Most of these people, the vast majority of these people are just consenting adults. There was one kid. You can't do that, right? Yeah, okay. Thousands of Americans paid the price for political failures they did not create. Since January 6th, Nancy Pelosi spent over 3 years and $20 million in taxpayer funds on her partisan select committee producing a scripted TV spectacle to fabricate an insurrection narrative and pin all of the blame on Donald Trump. Video and audio recordings, including unaired HBO footage from her daughter, show that Nancy Pelosi repeatedly acknowledged responsibility for catastrophic failures, admitting, "We have totally failed, and I take full responsibility for not having National Guard pre-deployed, despite intelligence warnings and President Trump's offers that were ignored under her leadership as speaker." Again, there's a couple really bad things here. And this is something that we need to keep in mind throughout this entire fucking... I wanted to call it an article, but it's not that. It's just, this is propaganda, right? There's something to keep in mind here, is that when you're trying to pin blame, think about if this is like a... If you're trying to pin blame for the events of January 6th, think about if this is valid, right? Sure, I did send all of these people with the intent to overturn the results of the election to the Capitol, right? And sure, after they began, becoming violent, I did egg them on. I did say that Mike Pence doesn't have the courage to do what was necessary to save the Constitution. I didn't tell them to go home until 3 hours later. But Nancy Pelosi wasn't ready for it, so it's her fault. Does that sound satisfying to anybody, right? Like saying you were underprepared for the insurrection. Like,
I basically made it clear that I was going to insurrect. Why weren't you ready for me to insurrect? What are we doing? How does that track? Come on.
If I'm a home invader and I break through the window and they arrest me, and then, I get pardoned and I say, hey, listen, isn't it kind of weird that the homeowner didn't install better cameras? it kind of weird that like they left their window cracked? I got in there so easy. No, right? You put the blame on the guy who fucking broke in the house, right? Like, this is retarded, right? And this is the question. How fucking stupid do you think we are? Like, these people broke into the Capitol. How are you going to pin the blame on somebody being not ready for your insurrection?
I think they know this to be true. Okay. 90% of MAGA thinks that people were ushered into the Capitol. They don't even know that the first person broke in with a stolen riot shield through a window. They don't know that police officers were trampled over. They don't know police officers were maced. They don't know that police officers were tased. It's selection bias, right? They selectively do research. Like Reynolds said, they'll know everything about those FISA warrants. And I'll question them like, okay, you know all that. Why don't you know anything about J6? What's going on there? Why? What's happening? It's so selective. Or they're lying to me. They do know and they know how evil it is, but they say it's who cares? I deem it selective research. They know that if they looked into J6, they could not justify it.
True. And it's kind of masterful. You'll see this as well. Okay. There's a lot of running narratives throughout this. I'm asking you to remember a lot. Okay.
All on the same theme.
Remember the projection thing that I brought up earlier. Okay. Please do so. Okay. Because it's going to become really relevant with this paragraph. The Democrats masterfully reversed reality on January 6th, branding peaceful patriotic protesters as insurrectionists and framing the event as a violent coup attempt orchestrated by Trump, despite no evidence of an armed rebellion or intent to overthrow the government. In truth, it was the Democrats who staged the real insurrection by certifying a fraud-ridden election, ignoring widespread irregularities, and weaponizing federal agencies to hunt down dissenters, all while Pelosi's own security lapses invited the chaos they later exploited to seize and consolidate power. So, by the way, I hope that the like, oh, you got raped, what were you wearing argument, like, I hope that's super transparent to everybody, right? But also, when he says certifying a fraud-ridden election, right? Keep in mind, he's saying that the Democrats engaged in insurrection by certifying the election. So that implies, right, that they're trying to get the Democrats to not certify the election, right? Like,
those people are only there to stop the real insurrection, bro. The cops were not trying to uphold the law, okay? The cops, Democrat shills. All right. What are you going to do? I mean, some of them deserve to get tased in the neck. Some of them deserved the mace. You know, we did need to break through the window. It's super weird. You know, they start up here and saying, like, it really all wasn't that bad. You know, we pardoned, you know, people who are merely trespassing, dude. What?
Yeah, they're patriotic Americans.
Yeah, they were all just, like, some of them were just trespassing. So what? They don't deserve to be in jail for 5 years. But then they admit down here that, no, they were really just there to, you know, stop the real insurrection. They admit it.
An election.
They admit it. What?
Yes.
How's that?
And this sentence is such a fucking slap in the face. And people wonder, like, everybody was commenting, like, Rinnycast, you were so mad yesterday. The next sentence is, this gaslighting narrative allowed them to pursue innocent Americans. Genuinely, shut the fuck up. What the fuck? You're saying that we're gaslighting the people for showing video of your supporters breaking into the Capitol, and you say, hey, don't be gaslit. The real insurrectionists were the ones who were trying to certify the election.
It's
like, what are we doing? Right? Like, I hope that the irony is not lost on anybody, right? Because, you know, if you're anybody on the left or even anybody on the right, whenever January 6th get brought up in any amount of modern conversation, it's always with the context of, that was 5 years ago, right? It's always the downplaying. That was 5 years ago. The real question is, if it wasn't important, why the fuck would you keep lying about it? Okay? You didn't need to publish this. You didn't need to. Okay?
No one thought this was coming out. This was a hot drop, all right? No one knew about it.
And it's part of the strategy, right? You keep lying about something, and then when you call out the government's lies about it, you say, "Oh, who even cares?" Right? Like, okay, yeah, sure, I lied about this, and this yesterday, right? But like, who cares? It was like 5 years ago that the actual event happened. We're just like relitigating. Who cares? Super scummy.
I mean, that guy that you talked to, Patrick Fuller. I mean, all things that he did. What, like, how is this? He was beating up police officers. He's pardoned. Why?
Yes.
Why? Why is it not on his criminal record that this guy beat up police officers? Why?
And it's like, it's a conceited effort to rewrite it too, right? Because right as soon as I told that guy, like, hey, when you're saying that the police officers let you guys in, you and I both know that's not true. He leaves immediately. The reason he leaves is because he knows that I know who he is, right? These people don't want to be confronted on their lies. They just want to put the lies out and hope nobody ever gets the ability to challenge them on it. It's not only that they can't challenge them on it. They don't care if you can. They care that anybody hears you do it, right? They want people to be stuck in these fucking vacuums, right? Because this is like a really convenient narrative, right? This is a really convenient narrative.
The website's got aura, man. It looks really good. I get it. Okay. Nice black and white picture up here. Good date. Good font. Don't know what font it is. Really good font. Big fan.
True. And you know, you're taught in school. You're taught in school. You only trust .edu and .gov. People probably will trust this. All of it is bullshit. All of it directly contradicts itself. How are you going to say that these people aren't insurrectionists, but then saying that they're trying to stop the certification of the election? Do you think if you put fraud written in front of anything, it means that you could just fuck with it? Like,
and another problem with this fraud written claim, you've been in office for, what, a year? Where is my evidence?
Where's it at?
You couldn't provide any when you weren't in office. Okay. You failed 60 times, right? Where's it at right now? You've been here. You've had time. Okay. You could have done this. You can't provide a single bit of evidence. Even when your DOJ lies about everything on your behalf, your FBI lies about everything on your behalf. You couldn't, the most partisan most partisan federal agencies I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't find anything. You can't even lie.
And that's why.
What does it take? What does it take for them not to lie?
That's why under his first term, right? Trump goes to the DHS. He asked for fraud, and what DHS posts is a statement saying that the 2020 election was the most secure election in American history. Donald Trump's DHS. Donald Trump was president in 2020. For DHS to post a statement like that in 2020 means that Donald Trump's DHS posted that it was the most secure election in American history, okay? He goes to the DOJ, he says, hey, have you found me fraud? Bill Barr says no. Says, hey, you found me fraud? Bill Barr says no. He goes back about fucking 30 more times. Bill Barr quits because of how fucking annoying Donald Trump is, right? He appoints new people. Jeffrey Rosen, that's an appointment, right? Jeffrey Rosen, he goes to Jeffrey Rosen, he's like, hey, have you found me fraud? He does the same fucking Bill Barr thing, except for this time he says, hey, Rosen, I need you to tell the states that you're finding massive impropriety. DOJ says no, because we haven't.
It's not happening, big guy.
And instead, he tries to fire that guy and replace him with a different guy who will tell the states that he found massive impropriety. Then he goes to Mike Pence and said, hey, do you know that the DOJ is finding massive impropriety?
DOJ hasn't told him that once yet.
DOJ told him the exact opposite. Said, no, we haven't found anything. All of the things that you're coming to us with is bullshit. There's the famous testimony from Bill Barr talking about the State Farm Arena video, talking about how the Ruby Freeman defamation was fucking horseshit, right? And still, for some reason, he keeps trying to repeat it.
I mean, we can look at Rudy Giuliani's statement about the State Farm thing, right? I mean, this guy's like, hey, am I allowed to admit that I lied and just claim his First Amendment protected? Is that what he said in court?
Yeah, they're like, no. And he was like, rats.
Never mind, I'm not going to say that.
It's not a good defense. Yeah, no, I'm not going to say that. Never mind.
Mind you, right? This is the end that we didn't read. Silence opposition and distract from their own role in undermining democracy. When were you silenced in those 60 cases that you lost? Gave you all the opportunity in the world. Wait, were you guys not spreading propaganda on Fox News? Was this not happening? Were you not able to do all of that? What?
Here's the best part. No. Here's the silver bullet. You ready for the Democrat admission that They were behind J6?
We have
I'm actually-
responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient
That
resources.
is not a question of how they have been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
So if you're autistic, this may be something, right? What this reads to me as is clearly somebody frustrated because somebody just tried to fucking kill her. A mob of fucking Trump supporters just tried to murder her, right? She's frustrated. She's like, fuck, why the fuck did we think we were prepared, right? What do you think you're proving when you post this? This proves nothing. This proves literally not a goddamn thing. I watched this video. I was like, when somebody first brought this video up to me, I was like, fuck, really? And I watched it.
Yeah, the
and
I
I'm
take
like,
responsibility quote. Yeah.
I watched it. I'm like, you're genuinely either lying to me, which is most likely what's happening here, based off of like the way that this entire article is written. This is a lie, right? Anybody who genuinely falls for this, I think is genuinely just autistic, or has like doesn't understand how people operate, or has never been through anything traumatic in their life ever, right? Because anytime anybody goes through a traumatic experience, it's not uncommon for them to wonder what they could have done to prevent it. Okay? That's what she's doing here. I don't know how you could read it as anything else ever.
I've always wondered what went through the head of a MAGA person when they bring up this quote. Rewatching it, I wonder if the Fed's direction pops up into their head, where they think that this is her being like, I regret sending who's my one
Ray Epps?
one dude. Yeah, Ray Epps. I regret
Don't worry,
sending Ray
they talk
Epps
about
in
him
there
here. They talk about him
on
here. Don't worry.
January 5th. Because on January 5th, he said we should storm the Capitol, guys. I mean, I regret sending Ray Epps in. And me knowing I sent Ray Epps in, I should have also sent the National Guard in, because Ray Epps is that one of them dudes that will really get them going. I don't know.
Here's the timeline.
My wonderful timeline. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is like this is the theme. Just think about how stupid they think you are when you read this, okay? President Trump invites Americans to DC. President Trump invites patriotic Americans to Washington, D.C. on January 6th for a peaceful and historic protest against certifying the stolen election in 2020. By the way, this is something that I debate about January 6th so much. I probably debate about January 6th more than not anybody, most people, okay? This is something
I'll give you anybody.
they're conceding something that Trump supporters never concede. I just wonder, like, how many conversations have I had? This is rhetorical. How many conversations have I had where I spend a half hour trying to justify this alone? The fact that January 6th was there to decertify the election, protest against certifying the election. They're saying it to you, but they know most people are going to read about here and then stop. Right?
Yeah.
They're telling you January 6th, a peaceful and historic protest against certifying a stolen election. What's the goal of that protest? It's to stop the certification of the election, right?
Yeah. So often the conversation dies when you even say the people were there to protest the election results or to protest the certification. And like so many conversations in there because we can't even get past it. And Trump supporters won't concede on it.
They were there too. The Trump administration is proudly saying, yeah, we were there to peacefully and historically show up against the results of the election.
Fuck you thought happened, bro. Obviously.
He
think we're not about that life?
He emphasizes standing up for election integrity while calling for peaceful demonstration. By the way, not true, by the way. Hundreds of thousands of people respond to the call to show support. At the ellipse, President Trump speaks to hundreds of thousands of Trump supporters, detailing evidence of election fraud and urging the crowd to march to the Capitol to peacefully and patriotically make their voices heard. by the way, literally I'm pretty sure, actually, genuinely, literally every single piece of evidence that he brings up towards this supposed voter fraud in this speech had been previously debunked to him personally. He had explicitly went out of his way to ask one of his cabinet members or one of his experts, hey, is this true? And they tell him no. And he goes out onto this ellipse speech and he repeats it anyway, right?
It's in the Jack Smith indictment, no?
That, and there's a table, like a super comprehensive table in the J6 committee report. He stresses the need to fight for the country through strength and determination, explicitly calling for peaceful protest. Like, you can see even how hard they're hedging here, right? Like, he stresses the need to fight for the country through strength and determination, explicitly calling for peaceful protest. Like, how many times?
Of course, it's peaceful, guys.
He said in that fucking hour and a half long speech, he says peaceful once, but notice that they've said peaceful 1, 2, 3, 4 times to recharacterize this afterward. Why do you think they keep reiterating this thing that he only said once? Is it because the character of the speech beforehand speaks against that? Like, when you say through strength and determination, fight for the need of the country, but do it peacefully, right? Like,
yeah, make sure it's peaceful, dog.
Yeah.
He says peaceful one time in a 53-minute speech. I think that might be the number.
After, by the way, after all of the people go on beforehand and call for trial by combat, right?
Yeah, Rudy Giuliani right before him goes, we should have trial by combat.
The crowd responds with massive enthusiasm.
I agree. That's a true statement.
Let's take bets. How many times do you think he's going to point out that the crowd did something violent?
None.
It's none. It's none. It's none.
I was going to make a funny joke. I'm locked in.
Patriots marched to the Capitol. Following the president's speech, the massive crowd peacefully marches down Constitution Avenue to the Capitol to protest the certification of the fraudulent election. The march is orderly and spirited with flags, signs, and chants supporting Donald Trump. A lot of these flags were stolen, but just ignore that part, right?
Also, the title of this section was Peaceful March, right? Right over top of Patriots March to the Capitol, it says Peaceful March. They're really trying to hammer home peaceful here, okay? Guys, it was peaceful, I swear.
He said to peacefully fight for the peaceful country and to peacefully march down peaceful Constitutional Avenue and peacefully make your peaceful voices heard, right? That's what he said, right?
Trial by combat peacefully, guys.
Yeah. Peaceful trial by peaceful combat.
True.
Capitol Police response escalates tensions. That's the name of this next subheading, right? Capitol Police aggressively fire tear gas, flashbangs, and rubber munitions into crowds of peaceful protesters. Peaceful. Injuring many and deliberately escalating tensions. By the way, this is after they've already broken through the fucking guardrails that are holding back protesters from the restricted grounds, right?
Yeah.
Video evidence. By the way, he says video evidence shows no video here. There's one video attached to this. It's fucking Nancy Pelosi in a car days later. Okay. It says video evidence shows officers inexplicably removing barricades. Where's that video? Where's that at,
why
buddy?
did they hyperlink it, bro? What's going on? You
I know you can embed videos. You've got an embedded video up here, buddy. Where's that? Opening Capitol doors and even waving attendees into the building. By the way, they never waved anybody into the building. They waved them down hallways to keep them away from the to keep them away from the non-secured areas. They were waving them into secured areas so they wouldn't get to the fucking Congress people, so they couldn't kill them, right? While simultaneously deploying violent forces against others. Like, even reading this, what fucking sense does this make? They were waving attendees into the building while deploying violent force?
Where did that?
It's a little weird,
Those
right?
things are happening at the same time. They're waving. Oh, Rayno, you never hit this move before? Wave tear gas.
Maybe it was like a wave,
pepper spray.
Yeah, he had like a pepper spray bomb in his hand, and he was like,
he's going like this.
Fucking mellow.
Yeah. They say peaceful again here.
These inconsistent and provocative tactics turned a peaceful demonstration into chaos.
Peaceful, guys.
It was super
Believe
peaceful.
me, it was peaceful, guys. I swear.
Also, watch. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, video evidence shows no citation. Watch Pelosi footage. He linked this video twice in 2 different ways.
I know.
Like,
I saw
2
that. Yeah.
separate ways. He linked this fucking video.
It's like trying to convince people you're not gay, man. Just like, guys, I'm really not gay.
It's
I
like
swear,
super.
I like girls.
It's so peaceful. President Trump
I've never
urges
liked girls
calm.
more than any, or no one knows likes girls like I like girls.
Yeah, true. I probably liked the most girls. As evidence,
Read the title of this one. No. Top title.
yeah, I said calls for peace. President Trump urges calm. As events unfold, President Trump repeatedly calls for peace. No. Tweeting support for law enforcement and releasing a video telling supporters to go home in peace. Here's the fucking evil part about this. Look at this timeline. Look at this timeline. You ready?
This is
1 p.m. to 1:30. That makes sense, right? 1:10 to 3.
Think so.
That makes sense. 2:24 to 4:17. That's fucking 2 hours. And then back to 2:30 over here. What the fuck, right? 2:30 to 3:30. Why is this span 2 hours? That's rhetorical, right? It's because the first time he actually tells the protesters to go home is at this 4 o'clock area here, right? So this should actually be here. Should be right here in this timeline, right? But that doesn't look as good, so I need to move it way up here, right?
Yeah.
And if you're wondering, wow, 224 is oddly specific, isn't it? I agree.
Is that when the first break-in happens?
Nope. This is Trump's call for peace, by the way. This is Trump's call for peace. Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving the states to a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones, which they were asked to previously certify. The USA demands truth. That's his call for peace, by the way. That was released at 2:24. So when he says calls for peace, that's what he's saying. If only he was as cautious to fucking urge for peace in that tweet as he has been throughout this entire fucking article, right? Because I think we're at like, what, the peace count is at like 24 in this article, and a big fucking zilch for that first tweet, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first time, by the way, he ever tells any rioter to go home is at 4 o'clock, 4:17. And that video was filmed ahead of time. So they filmed that video and then edited it and then released it. That's how long they waited. Leaked Pelosi video. Holy shit, how many hyperlinks? The fucking title here is a hyperlink too.
Whoa, it didn't even look like it.
How many fucking hyperlinks are you going to have to this one video?
Wait, that shows that they can even make the hyperlinks look cute too. It wasn't even like, I couldn't even tell that was a hyperlink.
I know. Leaked
Why didn't
Pelosi
they link
video.
back to all the stuff?
Who knows? It couldn't be that this footage doesn't exist. Couldn't be.
You know, renewed it might. It's classified. LOL.
Well, Hegseth would just leak it.
Oh yeah.
Bondi.
Leaked footage captured by Nancy Pelosi's daughter shows the speaker in a rage during evacuation, furiously admitting, "I take responsibility." I don't know if I'd call that in a rage. That looked way more panicked to me, but okay. Despite President Trump's prior authorization and offers of 10,000 troops. Now, this is a cute little word game here, right? He never authorized these troops. He never authorized these troops. He said, "I would send these to you if you want them." And they said, "No, we don't think it's necessary." That's what happened. So when he says authorization and offers, this authorization word could be referring to anything, right? Like, this just isn't true, right? And we know this because of Donald Trump's philosophy. If he wanted Capitol Police officers there, they would be there, right? You can say, fuck Nancy Pelosi. When's the last time Donald Trump ever respected the opinion of Nancy Pelosi? Hello?
Yeah.
Say, fuck Nancy Pelosi. I know this is going to be a problem. I'm going to send the Capitol Police officers there because it's the District of Columbia. This isn't even a state. I can fucking take the National Guard if I want to, right?
Like, mind you, National Guard's in DC right now.
Yes.
He did it unilaterally. He did it all by his lonesome. Why couldn't he do it here?
Who knows?
Why did he need Democrat Nancy, okay, to come over here and make the big boy responsibility for him or big boy decisions for him?
Like, how cucked too? Like, this shows like you were genuinely so cucked by Pelosi, where you're like, if you really want them, I'll send them. If you want.
I don't know.
You're the president, big dog. You can do it.
I believe in you.
Pelosi repeatedly to demand to know why security was so inaccurate on her watch, or inadequate. Sorry, yeah, on her watch, exposing deliberate refusal to accept offered protection and ignored or delayed requests for reinforcements. She never ignored or delayed reinforcements. That's just not true. Reinforcements implies that it's already happening. They never said like, hey, Pelosi, you sure you don't want the Capitol Police? Or you sure you don't want the National Guard? They never did that, right? They're talking about an offer from days prior. This happened on like, I think it was January 4th-ish when he offered these Capitol Police officers. And then another hyperlink to that video, by the way, if we didn't watch it the other 4 times.
No.
Ashley Babbitt murdered in cold blood.
To be fair, MAGA might not have known that this was the video, so you had to link to it 3 times to make sure that they understood.
Yeah, to just make sure.
It doesn't necessarily even look like a video, you know?
Let's see, one more time. Let's read the based version of this section, okay? Let's read the based version. Ashley Babbitt murdered in cold blood. You can accept a woman's death as a tragedy while acknowledging that it's a tragedy of her own making. Oh, wait, sorry. No, wait, hold on. Unarmed Air Force veteran and Trump supporter Ashley Babbitt is fatally shot by Capitol Police Lieutenant Michael Byrd, nice name drop, without warning as she climbs through a window toward the speaker's lobby. I wonder what she'd want in there. No weapon was found on her, and she posed no threat. Byrd faced no charges. 3 other Americans were also killed. Roseanne Boyland, Kevin Greesham, and Benjamin Phillips. 0 law enforcement officers lost their lives. This is just false, by the way. The one dude was hospitalized on injuries directly related and then died of a stroke, right? Was something like that, yeah?
Yeah, and he already had medical problems.
Let's do some on the spot. Who the fuck is this person?
Well, I mean, it's fun to do all this on the spot stuff. Why are they saying she had no weapon? She had a pocket knife on her. Not to say a pocket knife's the most dangerous thing out there, but I mean, come on. Yeah, I think it's a little bit disingenuous. I mean,
what's super interesting, I'm just looking up this one name. This Roseanne Boyland person was killed by the fucking rioters. She was trampled. If only we could get justice for that woman, but we won't because you pardoned all of them, retard. But okay, here's the worst one. Okay? This is the worst one. Mike Pence refuses to act. Vice President Mike Pence, who had the opportunity to return disputed electoral slates to the state legislators for review and decertification under the United States Constitution, big fucking fat giant citation needed. He doesn't have that power. Nothing ever gives him that power. I challenge anybody to find one single fucking thing that gives the vice president the unilateral ability to return electoral slates for recertification. Chooses not to exercise that power in an act of cowardice and sabotage. Refuses to enact a power he doesn't possess. Instead, Pence presides over the certification of contested electors. The contest here is that I don't like them, right? Undermining President Trump's efforts to address undocumented fraud and ending any chance to correct the election steal.
I like that paraphrasing with documented.
So again, let's actually read this, right? the opportunity to return electoral slates to state legislators for review and decertification. Right? So what they were calling on Mike Pence to do here, right, is decertify the election, right?
Isn't that what the protesters there were for?
And him not doing that was an act of cowardice and sabotage, right? Who knows? Who knows? Just a little weird. Just a little weird little nuance in this. I'm honestly so shocked that they even had the fucking balls to include this part, but stolen election certified after law enforcement clears the Capitol. Oh, I wonder why. I mean, they were there peacefully and patriotically. I don't know why you'd even need to clear them. Congress reconvenes that
peacefully,
night.
patriotically, peacefully. You know,
yeah,
they're all that.
Yeah. Certify Joe Biden's electoral votes. Notice that they didn't say certify Joe Biden victory. They say they certify his electoral votes. Votes from battleground states marred by massive mail-in ballot fraud, hidden suitcases of ballots. This guy knows that this is fucking bullshit, by the way. This is like the person who came up with this fucking thing admitted in court that he was lying about it and asked if that was a good legal defense. Okay? So I don't know why the fuck we still bring this up. I don't know why we still bring this up. Exploding water pipes, voting machine irregularities. This is just bullshit too, by the way. And unprecedented pandemic era rule changes that bypass state legislatures. None of those changes were deemed illegal, by the way. 2020 is considered the greatest election theft in U.S. history. Fun fact, if you just say is considered after something, you can just kind of get away with anything. Like Donald Trump is considered the biggest retard in the universe.
Sure.
And I'm the one that's considering that, by the way. With widespread fraud deliberately ignored by the courts, you got your hearings, buddy. You got your day in court. You couldn't prove standing. That's a skill issue, buddy. If you can't prove standing, that means your case is really fucking bad. Officials and the media. This part's really funny because it was actually so not ignored by the media that after Dominion found out about how the media was reporting on their machines, they actually won the biggest settlement in fucking U.S. litigation history. That's how covered by the media it was. President Trump's silence.
767 million, right?
It's fucking crazy, yeah. That's fuck you money right there.
Yeah, it is. It's just fuck you.
Despite his explicit call for peaceful protest, good job throwing that back in there.
Peaceful.
Keep in mind, this article has said that Donald Trump called for peaceful protest more than Donald Trump ever called for peaceful protest. I just hope we all understand that, right?
My bad. Misquote on me. 787 million from Fox News and 67 million from Newsmax.
67 million. Let's go. What an awesome number. Let's go. Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube and other platforms collude to ban President Trump for incitement in a blatant act of election interference. Now, here's the most retarded part of this. The election's over, retard. Post January 6th, how is it election interference? You lost, buddy. What election are they interfering with? JP Morgan, Bank of America, Capital One, and other major financial institutions debank Donald Trump and his family, closing accounts, freezing funds, and denying services, and a ruthless campaign of financial persecution to destroy them politically and economically. Legacy media suppresses evidence of fraud. All this may be true, but it's based as fuck, by the way.
Goated banks. No one's ever said that. It's true, though.
True. I love the banks.
I'm not
gonna make a comment on that. I don't think anybody should make a comment on that, especially not somebody with fucking blonde hair and blue eyes, motherfucker.
Calm down, big dog.
Mass arrests of patriotic protesters. The Biden DOJ launches a coordinated nationwide dragnet, arresting over 1,500 January 6th attendees in pre-dawn raids.
All of them were pre-dawn. All of them.
They drew their guns at dawn
5
and they
a.m..
came out for me. They came for me.
Man, they got me at pre-dawn.
I kissed my sweetie goodbye. They put me in the cuffs and they drove me away. They hogtied me and drugged me behind their horse.
They black bagged me.
Hundreds were held as political prisoners for years in harsh conditions. Don't insurrect. Denied speedy trials. Not true. And given lengthy sentences in what is considered... Given lengthy sentences... I'm sorry, what has to happen before you're sentenced?
No, not a guy that does a lot of law. I do a lot of law. Pretty
Yeah.
sure you need a trial before your sentence.
Yeah, and then at that trial, what has to happen? You need to be found what?
Guilty within a reasonable doubt, right? Or yeah.
Yeah.
So,
On the reasonable
I
doubt.
don't know, man. Without reasonable doubt, yeah. Pretty curious. I'm
No, but this
I got
is
sense
actually...
for
That's actually an unprecedented and diabolical weaponization of federal law enforcement, by the way. Is you
Yeah, no,
guys
getting
arrested
proven
me and
guilty.
tried me and found me guilty? What the fuck? This is such
these pre-dawn
weaponization.
after the pre-dawn raids. Oh my god, they black bagged me.
At least 5 J6 defendants took their life while facing prosecution. And I'm going to plead the fifth on that. January 6th, Select Committee exposed. Speaker Pelosi's handpicked January 6th committee, a select committee stacked with anti-Trump Democrats and 2 rhinos, spent over 3 years and $20 million in taxpayer funds on propaganda spectacle to demonize President Trump. I'm wondering, that investigation into Burisma from the House committee, how much money do you think that spent?
I have no idea.
And then, the follow-up question, what did we get out of the J6 committee? And then what did we get out of the Hunter Biden one? Because I'm pretty sure we got fuck all out of the Hunter Biden one. We got indictments of a giant fucking election racketeering scheme out of the J6 committee, but whatever. They coached witnesses like Cassidy Hutchins, leading to calls of perjury and witness tampering investigations against them. By the way, okay, leading to calls for perjury and witnessing tampering investigations. If you're calling for an investigation, that means they never opened the investigation, right? Like, just to be clear, even Donald Trump's current, we all know that Donald Trump has no problem opening investigations into people lying to Congress. We all know that, right? So obviously, if there's any grounds to do anything here, any grounds to do anything here, you know for a fact the indictment would have come way earlier than now, right? We're a year in, no indictments for this? While withholding exculpatory evidence, deleting encrypted files, and ignoring security failures. Now, again, we know you can put in a hyperlink. Where is this exculpatory evidence? Like, don't you think if they had all this exculpatory evidence, wouldn't they link it somewhere, anywhere? Weaponized prosecutions against target President Trump.
Oh my god, the title is Lawfare Against Trump. Ugh.
Biden prosecutors bring multiple indictments against President Trump over his legal election challenges. By the way, the legal election challenges was, hey, Mike Pence, can you pretty please consider breaking the Electoral Count Act? Please. That's the legal election contest.
Man, just say you don't know if we should certify these yet, man. Come on.
Including January 6th related federal charges. FBI agents conduct an unprecedented raid on his Mar-a-Lago home. The Mar-a-Lago raid wasn't even related to the J6 thing, was it? That was the classified documents, right?
Yes.
So that was just fully made up. Whoever joined, don't leave. Cringy, and you know you're not supposed to be here. That's the worst part. He came in, I told him not to join in. I saw somebody post a thing like, hey, it's private. I saw another confirmation saying, okay, I acknowledge that that's private. We kicked Cringy twice already, and then he tries to join again. What the fuck? Okay. Anyway, something else here, okay? There's 2 cases, all right? Famously, there was 2 cases, okay? Very distinct cases.
Yeah.
One in Georgia and a federal case, right?
No.
Neither of those 2 cases, I hate to break it to you, okay? This is a blatant lie. neither of those two cases are Biden prosecutors. Okay. One is Jack Smith, who is a special counsel. You appoint a special counsel whenever the attorney general has special interest, right? So the whole point of Jack Smith doing this prosecution instead of Merrick Garland is to avoid political prosecution, right? To avoid Joe Biden having a direct hand into Jack Smith, right? Like the whole point of Jack Smith being there was to not be a Biden prosecutor, right? And then the other one was a state charge that the federal government has fuck all to do with anything with, right? Like neither of these people were even Biden prosecutors.
Mind you, on this raid, just hand over your documents. Don't lie. What are we doing? You don't get raided if you hand over what you're supposed to be handing over. Don't have classified documents. Don't brag about having classified documents.
Well, Parker, I don't know if you know this. They even searched through First Lady Melania Trump's private wardrobe.
Oh. They saw her underpants.
Not her wardrobe.
Did you know that?
Oh no. Is nothing sacred?
Well, I'm going to be honest, guys. Trump had files in a bathroom, okay? I think nothing was off limits. Melania's
I was just about to say that too.
Certainly on limits. You had him in a ballroom. What?
They target his local lawyers, aides, and associates with baseless charges. By the way, these charges were so baseless that 2 of them pled guilty and apologized to the state of Georgia. Okay, that's how baseless they were. They literally, like, it's the most humiliating thing. I encourage anybody, look up Kenneth Chesborough, Jenna Ellis, apology letter, Georgia. Like, it's shameful. They're like, I'm so sorry for trying to steal the election. It's like the saddest thing in the world.
Daddy Trump made me do it.
Threatening decades-long prison sentences to pressure them into flipping with false testimony against him. Are you a mob boss or are you the fucking president? Like, lock in, buddy. Like, you're talking like you're fucking, I don't know any names of mobsters. You're talking like you're fucking Joe Pesci, buddy. You're not. I promise you're not.
You're not Capone, big guy.
Yeah, Al Capone. Yeah, there you go. FBI entrapment operation exposed.
Entrapment.
Everybody wonders where these talking points come from. Subsequent investigations, congressional testimony, and DOJ admissions from whistleblowers confirmed the FBI had at least 26 and likely dozens more. You could just throw that on anytime, like, right? Like, you hit me
more.
You hit me like 5 times and perhaps like 5,000 times. Perhaps like maybe even a million times. There could have been 2 billion FBI agents in this crowd. Who knows?
People have said,
Yeah, many such cases, really. And also, here's the worst part. Confidential informants are not FBI agents. How the fuck are you being entrapped by an informant? They don't even formally work for the FBI. Figures like...
My guy, he's just snitching on you, man. He's not doing anything else. What?
Figures like Ray Epps, who were caught on video reportedly urging people to go into the Capitol, were charged only minimally. I never got the Ray Epps narrative, and here's why, right? Donald Trump spends about a year and some change telling people that our election is being stolen, our country is being stolen from you by the Democrats, right? They say that Mike Pence has the ability to save our country and our Constitution, but he won't do it. He's being a coward. He's refusing to help President Trump save our country. And, we're going to march to the Capitol, peacefully and patriotically, and we're going to fight like hell to save our country, right? None of that was incitement, right? None of that was incitement. This fucking random ass guy that nobody knows who the fuck this is, right? This random ass dude saying 2 days before that they're going to go into the Capitol. That's what incited the whole fucking thing. It wasn't the president constantly saying that the country is being robbed from you and that there's one thing that everybody can do and it's pressure Mike Pence to decertify the election. It wasn't that. It couldn't be that. It couldn't be saying like, hey, you go to the Capitol where Mike Pence is and we show Mike Pence. How the fuck are you going to show Mike Pence from outside, buddy? All right. Who knows? Who knows? It wasn't that. It couldn't have been that. It was this fucking random retard who 2 days before said go into the Capitol. Then, by the way, no one ever brings this up. On January 6th, he was telling people not to, right? It was that guy. It was that guy. They telepathically understood. All of them had surveillance footage from 2 days before at the Capitol where they could sense Ray Epps was telling people to go in. And they're like, oh, fuck. Well, Ray told me to go in, so I've gotta. This fucking, like...
This guy just met Ray Epps, you know. He's saying to go in. I guess I should disregard the peaceful and patriotically thing, right?
Yeah. Listen, I was going to go in there peacefully and patriotically, but then my buddy Ray, he said 2 days ago not to. So, I mean, I've got to listen.
He said I should steal this riot shield and break it in the window so I can get inside.
Democrats successfully flipped the narrative to brand peaceful protesters as insurrectionists while waging the true insurrection against a legitimate election. Hilarious. And then the lawfare fails. Now, okay, I said that the Mike Pence one was the worst. This is the worst in a different way, right? Because when you read this, okay, have you guys watched anything from like North Korean propaganda?
Yes.
I've seen like the funny things, yeah.
Holy fuck, dude. Okay. Despite relentless deep state efforts to imprison, bankrupt, and assassinate him, all designed to sabotage his political comeback through fabricated indictments, intensive raids, and rigged show trials, President Trump emerges triumphant, fueled by unbreakable resolve and fierce loyalty to his courageous family and patriotic Americans and God's unmistakable grace. He delivers a landslide 2024 victory and reclaims the White House in the greatest comeback of American history. God
Just
damn.
so everyone can understand the level of propagandizing, this feels exactly like Kim Jong-un shot 18 at his thing. 18 hole-in-ones in a row, okay, guys? Kim Jong-un did it.
Also keep in mind, like, this is written to appeal to retards, right? Like, the deep state, okay? When you think of the deep state, you think, oh, yeah, that's the FBI, that's the CIA, that's the DOJ, that's like all of these three-letter agencies. Why the fuck would they try to kill Donald Trump? Hello? The deep state effort to assassinate him. Citation? Hello? What? President Trump corrected a historic wrong, freeing Americans who are unjustly punished and restoring fairness under the law. And then this is a repeat, he repeats the top part, he links off to the pardon, says, these Americans, many guilty of nothing more than peacefully protesting a disputed election, were finally freed from cruel imprisonment, restored to their families, and exonerated. Fuck no, they weren't. They were never exonerated. I don't know why the fuck you put this part. They weren't exonerated from shit. You just wrote something on a paper, big dog. All right, let's calm down, buddy. In one bold stroke. Listen, if only there was a bold. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. If only there was a bold stroke. In one bold stroke, Donald Trump ended the nightmare of weaponized justice and delivered a long overdue vindication of those betrayed by the very leaders they swore to protect. Unfortunately, these 9 beautiful and courageous souls lost their lives, 4 on January 6th itself, and 5 by their own hand after merciless persecution. Like, that's okay. I'm sorry. It's a skill issue, buddy. Don't kill it. Like, fucking, you really killed yourself because you waged an insurrection and they came after you for it. What the fuck did you think was going to happen? Lock in, buddy. For the simple act of peacefully walking through the Capitol.
They're taking a tour, Reynolds. Obvious. Rennie. It was a tour. I remember they were waving and shooting they were doing the.
Muted himself.
LOL. How silly.
I was getting too amped up with my Carmelo Anthony shot. You know, we're waving him in and throwing the pepper spray.
Yeah, so we learned today that the Trump administration thinks you're retarded.
Sure.
They will constantly lie to you. And until you stop being lied to, until you stop being so retarded that you're so easily lied to about everything, they're going to keep treating you like retards. So I suggest, if you're an American, if you're a Trump supporter, stop being so retarded. Like, it's super easy. Like, when you look at something, when you look at a statement from the government, don't just trust it, okay? Go watch the video. And if you watch if you watch the video of that fucking person being shot and you think that's justified, don't talk about politics anymore. Don't vote. Don't do any. You're too retarded to probably even go outside. I'd probably get a caretaker. And the same thing for the J6 thing. If anybody ever disagrees with me on anything, okay, I assume that this is the same for Parker and Hex. All right, we're debate bros, buddy. All right, you can talk to us whenever. Okay, I've got an open Discord. We all run TikTok lives, buddy. There's any disagreement, we can litigate it. All right.
You guys are my favorite people to talk to, I swear. I like you guys more than I like Rinnyald.
And potentially, if this happens tomorrow, I'll probably just put it at the end of this, or at the beginning of this. I'll put it somewhere. Me and Corbin may be having a conversation about this, and the way that he put the feeler out made me not feel good about it. So,
About what?
about the ice shooting. So hopefully it's not super bad. Okay, well, that's it.